Delighted to be joined on Ice Hockey UK TV in association with SMP Europe. The head coach of the GB team about to go to the Winter Youth Olympic Games in South Korea. That's Danny Meyers. Danny, hello to you.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Great, and it's great to have you. Look, you are literally days away from you and that team boarding that flight to represent GB at a Youth Olympics. Can you put into word how you and the squad are feeling?
Well, as you know from my playing days, I was able to get to the final Olympic qualifier, but never got to go to the Olympics. So, from a personal point of view, it's certainly something that I'm extremely excited about. Unfortunately, obviously, didn't make it as a player, but certainly as a coach, this is it's going to be a wonderful experience. And then you put yourself in the player's shoes. I mean, it's just incredible, really, isn't it? The staying at the Olympic Village, playing in the Youth Olympics at their age. I mean, what an incredible experience it's going to be for them.
What is it like? I mean, you've obviously been having them for their final training sessions before going. How is it? Do you let that excitement roll because it's amazing, or do you have to rein it in a bit? How do you manage that?
I've let the excitement roll. I want them to embrace all of this, and I think this is something that I held a parents' meeting with the players, which I don't usually do, to be honest with you. But I thought it was an opportunity for the parents to kind of, sit back and be proud of what their sons have achieved. I mean, the parents play such a big role in any ice hockey player's journey, and all the sacrifices that they made. I wanted the experience to be magical. We fly on Sunday, and we'll get out there, but that's when it's kind of all right. This is hockey, and we need to be laser focused here. But for the build up, I've certainly let the excitement run.
What about the 3-on-3 format? Okay, we're used to 3-on-3 in men's hockey in overtime and in women's hockey and in overtime as well. Do you know what I mean? What about having constant games in this different style? How's it been from someone who's grown up one way, and this is very different? And the IIHF do seem that they're very keen to push this for the future. This could just be the start. What's it been like having that, not just focusing on it because it's an overtime, but something that's happening throughout the whole game, this totally different style?
I mean, I kind of class myself as a historian, kind of traditional ice hockey player, and I suppose Chris, you follow cricket all your life, right? So I would imagine when they decided that they were going to go to 2020, you as a traditionalist were a little bit like, it's taken away from the game. I'm not sure I'm going to like this, and that's where ice hockey finds itself with 3-on-3. As we well know, the 2020 proved extremely popular. It brought in a whole new audience of ice hockey fans, and what was once seen as a gimmick now seems to be pretty good money in that IPL and the World Championships and all that stuff. And that's where I anticipate the 3-on-3 going. So inevitably, there's going to be some skepticism about the legitimacy of what 3-on-3 is. Which is understandable. It's never going to take away from the 5-on-5 game, much like the 2020 doesn't take away from Test cricket. Test cricket will always be, the epitome. But there's a place for 3-on-3, like there is for the 2020. What I like about it from a player's point of view, with regards to how it can lend itself to 5-on-5, is obviously the game is extremely quick and the decisions have to be made extremely quick. And so what it helps with the players is, at this age, certainly in the UK, where, let's be honest, like the more dominant players kind of get the puck, they're able to skate 10, 15, 20 meters without kind of really getting anyone trying to take the puck off them. When you get to a pro level, that isn't the case. So it's a little insight into what pro hockey is like with regards to time and space being taken away from you. Your decision making is a lot quicker. So there's a lot from the 3-on-3 game that can really, really help the 5-on-5 game. From a spectator point of view, it's one of the most exciting things that I've ever seen. When I first got the rules from the IIHF for these Olympic Games, at first I was like, oh, it's a bit gimmicky. I'm not really sure I kind of like this. And then we've done the Olympic rules in one of the camps, and we done a game. And afterwards, I kind of looked at my coaching staff and was like, I was just enthralled by that. Like, how exciting was it? It's just so fast. It's there's never a dull moment. There's no, You can't trap anyone. There's no 1-3-1. There's no slowing the pace down. The pace just does not stop throughout all of it. And it's extremely exciting. And of course, it's going to take some getting used to, but I do see this as being a major, major part of ice hockey moving forward.
So, Danny, I probably didn't explain it properly in the previous question. So, people who are listening and don't quite understand, it's not 3-on-3 full ice. The way it's going to happen in the tournament is cross ice, two matches going on at the same time. But even so, is there a lot of time on the puck and a lot of space on the ice for this type of 3-on-3 cross ice?
Well, let's think about it from a 5-on-5 point of view, where blue line in the offensive zone, there's 5 players on each team and a goalie. So there's 11 players there. If it was a power play, then there would be 10, a 5-on-4 and a goalie. So there seems to be plenty of space for a power play or a 5-on-5 offensive zone play where there's 11 players there. We're going with 3 players each side, and obviously the 2 goalies for each team. So there's plenty of room out there to make plays. It's highly skilled. It's extremely fast. The importance is moving the puck quick, which again is another thing that the players will need to learn when they play, should they go on to play at a professional level. So it's not a case of it just being cramped and chaos. There is an enormous amount of ice out there, should you use it correctly, which is the sort of things that we've been working on, making sure that we make the most of the ice and that we're not being too close together. We want to stretch teams as much as possible. We are kind of going into this tournament a little bit blind. We don't really know what to expect from the other teams. We've had some games that we've played here, but we're still figuring our way through it all. Certainly by the end of the tournament, I'm going to know a lot more, that's for sure. But that's the kind of the exciting bit, is the unpredictability about it all.
And do you have any aspiration of how you might do? I mean, that's a tough question, I know. But is there any aspiration? Do you have a target? Am I asking you too much here? What do you expect from the next few weeks?
Chris, you've known me long enough now. What do you think I'm going to say?
You're going to win it.
I don't know of any other way, especially when I'm representing my country, not to go for the best result. That's not me guaranteeing a gold medal. That's not me showing any disrespect to the other nations, because we're ranked 6th out of the 8 teams. But we've got to inspire, and we've got to go for it, don't we? I mean, this is, as a collective group with the GB program, we have got to aspire to be the best that we can be. And so this isn't a prediction that we're going to win gold, but we're going for gold, because that's what we should be trying to go for. One of the big things about this 3-on-3 program is it was an opportunity for me to work with the players that not only got selected but didn't get selected, to kind of teach them about what GB has personally meant to me, and where we as the collective group of the new generation of what this is, what needs to be done in order for us to, as a senior team, maintain Pool A, as an under 18s and under 20s, try and go up the ranks there. So what are we going to get out of this? We are going there to win a medal, but it's also an experience for them to play for Great Britain, to play in a tournament, to learn from this and to take this forward. I appreciate that this team currently right now, this GB under 16 3-on-3 team, is at the lowest of the pecking order of all the GB teams. And that's fine. But it's still very, very important, because regardless of whether this is 3-on-3 or 5-on-5, we can teach the players what it means to play for Great Britain, what is required to play at the highest level, the experience that they can get from this, that they can potentially move forward playing for GB 16s, 18s, 20s, and the senior team. So this is highly important for the development of future GB teams. And as a nation, if we want to move forward, then we need to get it in our head that we need to aspire to be the best that we can be. And so, to come back to your question, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a gold medal, because that is what we should aspire to be. And we'll see how the results go. We'll see where we land, and maybe we don't get a medal, and maybe we it doesn't end up with a medal around our neck. But we should be going there for that. There should be an inner belief in us. And if I think back to my GB career, and Chris, you've been around the senior team long enough. What's the number one thing that the GB team have? It's a team spirit and that desire to overcome odds. That hasn't changed since I've retired. It's still the same now. Yes, we've got really skilled players, we've got high caliber players, but the core of a GB senior team and the success for that is what that dressing room is like and them overcoming odds. And that needs to go down to this new generation of this is what it means to play for Great Britain.
Brilliant words. Danny, great catching up with you, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, buddy.